Hey everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another fashion edition. Thank you so much for being here with me today. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. There have been so many requests on this one, so I really hope you guys enjoy today's video. The format's going to be just a little bit different, so let me know in the comments your feedback. Please be kind. Today we're going through Sophie's style catalog, but before we do, let's take a quick moment to look at her body type a little bit and see what sorts of features might be impacting her style choices or the way that clothes look on her body. So she has quite the balanced shape overall. Her waist is fairly well defined. It's maybe not the most well defined waist, but you can tell she has a good waist in there and she's got a great figure overall. Her hips look to be maybe slightly wider than her shoulders. She doesn't have super broad or imposing shoulders. When you look at her, I would say the widest point either comes off as her bust or her hips. Since she is a little bit busty, her chest area can appear a little bit long in some of her outfits. They could benefit from a little bit more structure to contrast those curves. With this sort of body type, you can look a little bit rectangular or blocky or make yourself look a little bit wider than you are if you fail to define the waist adequately. So I would say that's one of the major style concerns when it comes to Sophie. Overall, she has a great body type for dressing and for wearing clothes in general. Okay, so we have to get this out of the way. While the silhouette of this outfit is great, the colors are awful, just horrible. This absolute monstrosity reminds me of gelato, and I know this was a long time ago, but my God, who thought that was okay? Who made this? Stop it. And this huge hat honestly just makes it even worse. If the blazer was all blue, it would honestly be not that bad. Like, I still wouldn't be a fan of the fringy embroidery horizontal lines going up it, but it wouldn't be that bad. Like, it would still look dated, but it wouldn't be this bad. So this here definitely wins prize as worst thing I've ever seen her wear. Just saying, I like her. She's very sweet and kind, but this was a grave error. All right, start with one of her favorite silhouettes to wear, and honestly, one of the favorite approaches she takes to her outfits. She does do a lot of these sorts of prints, where it's a continuous print from top to bottom of the outfit, and I think that's actually a really great approach for her. It allows flexibility in your accessories because you can stick to more neutrals, and it looks very nice. This is a fit and flare silhouette. We saw her in something similar on Garter Day. And I like that there's not a lot of volume in the shoulders paired up with that tall collar because that would be too much and kind of consume her up here. So that was a good choice. Honestly, she can pull off short turtlenecks just fine, even though she doesn't have a particularly long neck because she doesn't have super wide shoulders. So it really works okay for her, I think. Although turtlenecks in general or high collars and big collars, you do need to be pretty careful with overall unless you are one of those Keira Knightley, as Jack Sparrow put it, neck like a giraffe type ladies who can really get away with tall collars no problem. She also has a keen eye for having dresses that hit her just above the ankle there in that perfect spot for her because she is about 5'5", so she's not particularly tall, but she's not also particularly short, so that's a really good spot to hit for dresses on her. This sort of a dress will work really well on even shorter women as well. It just might need to be hemmed up a little bit shorter to prevent you from looking too stumpy on the ankles. Okay, these two looks, neither of them are my absolute favorite, although this white top I really do like. I love how it has a tie off to one side, but the skirt is just a bit too heavy and chunky for her. It's very blocky. It makes her look a little wider and heavier than she really is. So I feel like it would have been better paired with like a flared pencil skirt or something of that nature that allowed her hips and everything to have that slimmer figure to it, and then a flare would have been much nicer because this just kind of widens her unfairly. I also am not a huge fan of the hat she chose on this day. I really like her in hats that are a little bit taller or have a little bit of height to them. That's just what was my personal preference for Sophie in particular. This gray outfit here, I have a lot of mixed feelings about. The feathery hat is so much fun and I quite like it, but the color itself on this outfit overall might wash her out just a tad, but that color's a little tricky on anybody really. I do love a good pleated skirt, and I have no problem with this one, although something about the top just doesn't feel quite fitted enough for her. Like, it's not doing her enough justice, but it's not horrible either. I would give this like a B-. All right, so here's a couple more just middle of the road, mediocre sort of looks on her. Let me explain why. This green dress, I love absolutely everything about it except for this hugely wide and dramatic V-neck that she has going on up here. It makes her shoulders and her upper body just look a little bit broader and a little bit thicker than I think it really is. I don't think it did any favors to her shoulder area. I think it would have looked so amazing if it was just pulled in and came right here. She doesn't have a particularly long neck or a particularly skinny neck. So this sort of an approach just kind of isn't as flattering as I wish it were, but everything else about the look is lovely. Just imagine it if the V-neck was just, instead of this. That would look so great. This is just a near miss there. This look here, it's more so the pairings that I do not like. The dress underneath this blazer is probably just fine and excellent even, but the blazer doesn't fit with this look at all. And it doesn't match because the shoes are gray. So that's a little bit odd. The black blazer here could have worked if she had black pumps and if the blazer were cropped or perhaps a peplum, because she really does need to show her waistline a little bit more to flatter her figure the most. It's not a horrible crime, this outfit that she has on here or anything like that. It just could have been much more flattering to her if it had a few tweaks. Another thing I would like to point out is that Sophie does a great job with her hair. She almost always has it back in a beautiful updo, a lot of intricate buns and chignons and things like that that just look perfect, polished, and neat. Very tidy and very beautiful because her blonde hair allows you to really see all the twists and turns that they create in those intricate updos for her, and I absolutely love that. She also will wear her hair down sometimes and it looks fine too because she gives it a little bit of a curl and it looks great. But I really enjoy the fact that she does a really good job looking after her hairstyles in her outfits. Okay, so this is another one that I'm not too sure about. It's not that the silhouette is that horrible, although the neckline again is one that I don't think is the most flattering for her. Those wider necklines are maybe not the best approach. However, the dress overall doesn't have a horrible length or silhouette to it in general. It's just the pattern, especially from afar, doesn't look very intentional, but the silhouette and stuff is not the worst. Here we have one that is a little bit better. I quite like this one. It's got a lot of interesting texture and different lines and patterns on it, but it's all in white still. But what really kind of throws the look off is her sleeves. They have a very dramatic, almost handkerchief style sleeve. And if the sleeves were just cap sleeves or tight sleeves, bishop sleeves even, where they have a little bit of a puff and a cuff, it would look so much better. These sleeves are too voluminous and it gives her a boxy shape. It just makes her look like a big rectangle, and she doesn't need to have that because she does have a nice figure and a nice waist. So if those sleeves were pulled away a little bit, you could see the definition of her waist. It would look so much better for her. Otherwise, it's a nice look. I mean, she looks beautiful no matter what. It's just a matter of those sleeves. I sure do wish they were fitted. This pink color, she can totally pull it off. She's really able to wear a lot of bright and beautiful colors. She does seem to gravitate towards whites and neutrals quite a little bit, but this pink one was a little bit of a different choice for her. I'm not too sure about it though. The gathering around the top and the sleeves is bothering me. It reminds me of like scrunchies. It reminds me of hair scrunchies. And then the hat, I'm not too sure it goes with the dress very well. So this one I'm going to say is a miss. A simple shift dress would have looked a lot better with that hat, or a fit and flare, as we've seen, looks very flattering on her body type. This white dress is quite nice, very fitted, very lovely. I like where the sleeves hit on her. It allows for a very slimming effect to her arms. And the cowl neck is something that I think is a lot better. Those necklines that are pulled in a little bit more, I think just make her shoulders look a lot nicer. It creates a better silhouette for her neck. And this one being a cowl that comes down a little bit, elongates her neck just a tad. This one is very flattering for her. Notice how Sophie often opts for clean and sleek designs. She goes for things that are a little bit more plain or continuous patterns, more solid colors. In part, this is professionalism because the less you have going on in an outfit, the much better it looks in photographs, the more professional it comes across, as we've seen with Meghan as an example of what not to wear. Handkerchief hems and buttons and belts and all sorts of stripes and things like that going on in an outfit just doesn't come across very well. Too many embellishments is just distracting to the eye, and it's not as good of a look. It's very smart of Sophie to gravitate towards these more streamlined looks, which allow her balanced figure to shine and just photograph a lot nicer. So even if they're not always a great home run, they're still a good choice for the occasion. Almost always. I don't think I've seen Sophie in something that I'm like, wow, that's not good for the occasion. Almost ever. Even that horrible gelato suit at the beginning was at Ascot. So, at least the occasion was right. This lovely look here showcases that excellent figure I'm talking about. Her slim waistline and balanced proportions are fabulous for dressing, and this one-shouldered look is very flattering on her. This just looks feminine and lovely. The only thing I'm not too sure about is that low-hanging necklace. I think that maybe was a little out of place. Okay, so let's compare these two gowns. One of them is much more flattering to her than the other. I don't hate either of them, but I also don't particularly love this first one here. She's wearing a tiara, looks to be on some formal occasion. There are two problems I see with this dress straight away, and the first one is those seams that are down there on her thigh. They come down and then hit at her thigh. It gives a very drooping effect to her silhouette that I think is rude. Whoever designed it that way, I don't like that. Also for her figure, I would argue that she looks better in slightly lower waistlines closer to her true and natural waist rather than this empire style waistline we see happening here in this dress with the lace top. Because she does have that good waist, when she hides it or doesn't accentuate it, it gives her a more rectangular shape. Nothing wrong with that, but if you have a good waist, why not show it off? This pink one here you can see has an asymmetrical line and gathering off to one side of her body, which is so flattering. Obviously, the one shoulder look wouldn't be appropriate for some sort of state dinner or occasion like she's wearing the tiara in. However, if it had sleeves, it would be a perfect choice for something like that, a more formal occasion. This swooping and gathering, draping off to one side creates those diagonal lines, and it's very, very flattering for her waistline. It accentuates it without having to have some sort of dramatically tight outfit that might be less comfortable for her to wear. So next, let's compare these two looks. They're both lovely choices for her. Both of them have flattering lengths for her, and they both have this 3/4 sleeve. All of those things are excellent. I absolutely love 3/4 sleeves on her. She doesn't have like particularly big arms by any means, but this just gives a slimming effect to the arm for it to hit around that 3/4 length for her in particular. I find that women who feel their arms are not as toned as they like can benefit from those longer short sleeves like this length or 3/4 sleeves, where it hits at a spot that allows your thin wrists to shine still, but can give you the coverage that makes you feel more comfortable with those slightly longer sleeves. So whether or not that's what she was going for, it is a nice technique for us when we're shopping. Both of these looks also cinch in at the waistline, though you can see the one on the left has a slightly lower waistline, and I think defines her waist much better than this one on the right, where the waistline seems to gather immediately under her bust. The effect that it gives to the eye here is that her waistline stops right at her bust, which almost gives the illusion that her bust or her chest is longer than it really is. Whereas this one, where the waistline is a few inches below her bust, more at her natural waist, it enhances her figure in a way where her chest looks more lifted, waistline to shine and show off before the dress begins its flare. So I think that this is a much more flattering approach for her. And I also like the collar of this one a lot better. That bit of structure there is a great contrast to her curvier chest. And I just like that collared top on her better than this flat laying V-neck. What do you guys think? Which one of these two do you prefer? This is probably one of my favorite looks I've ever seen her wear. I also really loved the dress that she wore to Princess Eugenie's wedding that had that crop top and long skirt. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it somewhere. That was a great look on her. It was very flattering and chic. This one is probably one of my most favorite of all time I have ever seen her wear. Everything from the hat, shoes, accessories, and dress are all on point in such a perfect way. It's this off-white with navy, and the navy accent just comes down in the most flattering, figure enhancing way. It is such a handsome dress on her. A little bit of a turtleneck like we were talking about that she is able to pull off just fine. Allows for that lovely brooch to be showcased as well. As you can see, the structure that this top offers and the fitted sleeves allows her bust and her chest to look nice and shapely and her waistline to still shine. It doesn't give that effect of the long chest that really can get away with these more form-fitting things, so I wish she would go for them a little bit more. We do see her oftentimes in things that might be better suited for somebody who's maybe trying to hide a little bit of a tummy or who has a less well-defined waist, but she has that waistline, so I really hope that she goes for more of these types of silhouettes going forward because they look so amazing on her. This was in 2020 at the Commonwealth Day service. So this is my favorite look on Sophie from today's style catalog. What is your favorite look from today? Leave it in the comments, and please do let me know if you like this type of video and what sorts of videos you would like to see next. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Be sure to check out Happy Day merch. If you're curious about anything that I have on today or the makeup products that I am wearing, then check the products tab. It's usually just below in the description box area. And don't forget to share this video with anybody you think might enjoy it. Click the like button if you liked today's video and let me know, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you click the bell icon, you'll be notified anytime I post new content. And thank you so much again for being here with me. I really do appreciate you, and I hope that you have a happy day, okay? I'll see you next time. Bye!